Paul, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south. More specifically, currently we are in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. And actually today I was kind of doing kind of a traveling day. I'm headed over to the kind of the Chattanooga, Tennessee general area. And so I figured we'd drive the back roads of the mountains, of the Appalachian Mountains, and see some of the things along the way as we head towards Chattanooga. And of course, before we did get started today, I did want to make a small announcement that there are brand new Carpetbagger pins in the Etsy shop. There are 4 new pins, each one featuring me dressed as a different monster. So if you want to check those out, all that information is in the descriptions. They're currently for sale. You can buy them individually, or actually I'm selling all 4 together for a discounted price. If you're interested in helping out the channel in that way, check those out. If you like pins, if you have your own pin hat that you want to stick some pins in, feel free to check that out. But yeah, now we're just gonna kind of head through the mountains, through some of the mountain towns on the way to Chattanooga, and just kind of see what we see along the way. So please follow me. Out here in front of the Red Gingham Country Store, we have this cutout here welcoming us to Maggie Valley. It says growing together one lick at a time. You can put our heads through there. We have kind of the classic Maggie Valley characters there, the shoeless hillbilly and the woman dressed in the prairie dress. Now often this faceless woman is used in Maggie Valley as kind of a mascot known as Miss Maggie. See there, it says growing together one lick at a time.
The way this photo op is set up, it almost seems like I'm supposed to be licking the ice cream. Although that seems kind of unsanitary, so. Oh God. I definitely should not have done that.
Out here in front of Maggie Mountaineer Crafts, they always have these photo ops. Here they have this old truck. See, it says welcome spring in the mountains. You can see beautiful flowers in the back, and these ghoulish creatures inside the truck. Hey guys, you can make your fall picture in a mountain outhouse. Well, you can also make your spring picture here. Let's see, they have hillbilly toilet paper right there. It's just, you know, corn cobs. I guess corn cobs are used for toilet paper because all the little divots. Well, I think you guys can get how that works.
Can you see me in here? Can you see? This is, you know, the classic Appalachian photo op, of course, being in an outhouse using some of this hillbilly toilet paper.
But if outhouse photos aren't your things, you can always sit in the paw of this mighty bear. See this bear here wearing a t-shirt that says, "Dude, I'm right here," with a Sasquatch on it. You know, there's certain people accuse Sasquatch of being a bear. Of course, that's absurd, but this bear at least is a fan of the Sasquatch and his work. It's a penny smashing machine, actually, and sadly this one is out of order. You can see it actually makes a Maggie Valley penny. Like I said, the mascot of Maggie Valley is this woman, Miss Maggie,
This woman in a prairie dress with no face. Some bottled soda in here, some classic brands such as Knee High. You got Dad's root beer, but look at this. They actually have Cheerwine Zero in a bottle. I think we're gonna have to go for one of those. So yeah, in these Smoky Mountain area, you'll often see lots of different bears in the gift shop because of the black bears that live in the area. Although I've noticed recently you've been seeing more Sasquatches and Sasquatch material in for sale. Let's see, the I Saw Bigfoot frame. So I guess when you finally take a picture of a real Bigfoot, you can put it in this frame. Now, once upon a time, Bigfoot was considered to be a regional monster, considered regional to the Pacific Northwest, but there are different species of Sasquatch around the country. But I've noticed you're starting to see Bigfoot almost everywhere. Like they use Bigfoot imagery and sell Bigfoot merchandise in all these different places around the country. I just asked the question: does Bigfoot belong to everyone now? Is he no longer considered a regional monster? I think these are some Appalachian gnomes here. All right, so a nice Cheerwine Zero. Some places around the Carolinas do have like Cheerwine in their fountain drinks, but I've been trying to stay away from sugary sodas. So I was happy to finally find some diet Cheerwine, or like it's Cheerwine Zero. I always wondered, does diet and zero, do they mean something different, or is that just a marketing thing? I don't know. A lady said this was a twist off. So let's, oh, there we go. Now, I know when I started this channel, I would feature Cheerwine, and a lot of people were unfamiliar with Cheerwine back then, but I know it's spread around a little more. I remember seeing it at the Delaware State Fair. Had a Cheerwine booth, and then I saw a soda machine in Maryland that was selling Cheerwine. So I don't know if it's spread more in the past years, but it's kind of a Carolina beverage, and I always have a hard time. But people want to know what it tastes like. I always have a hard time. It's definitely cherry, but it has kind of a unique taste. It's kind of hard, honestly, kind of hard to describe. I wouldn't say it tastes like any other like cherry soda. It doesn't really taste like cherry Fanta. It has a more sophisticated cherry taste. In fact, when they first started selling Cheerwine, the reason they call it Cheerwine is they actually considered it to be a non-alcoholic carbonated wine, which it doesn't really taste like wine either. But it's so good. Try it. Try it if you can. They have it. They have the Cheerwine Zero as well if you don't like drinking sugary sodas. Here is the Stompin' Ground, a music and dance hall here in Maggie Valley. They play country, bluegrass music and dancing. You can see it again, the mascot of Maggie Valley, Miss Maggie there, dancing with a gentleman here. And actually the local dancing, known as clogging, actually is a very interesting and impressive form of dance. Little mini golf course here in Maggie Valley. But one thing that's always struck me as unique about this mini golf course is the name. It's called Maggie Valley Carpet Golf, and I've traveled the country. I've seen a lot of different mini golf courses, and I've never seen another mini golf course called Carpet Golf. I mean, I kind of understand where the name comes from. You have the AstroTurf, could kind of be considered a carpet, but yeah, as far as it just being called Carpet Golf, I find that interesting. If anyone else has ever seen mini golf called Carpet Golf, leave a comment in the comment section. Down here we have a love bug sticking out the side of the building. Oh, look at that.
That guy driving the love bug. See there, one of the original carts from the ski lift at Ghost Town in the Sky. Last time me and Jen came through, she saw this sign and said that she'd never heard the word vittles before. Yes, I don't know if that's a southern term, but yeah, if you've heard the term vittles before, leave a comment in the comment section. Now, one question I do end up still getting a lot is, will Ghost Town in the Sky ever reopen? And I don't know, this as I've mentioned before, it almost seems as though this amusement park, this abandoned amusement park, almost seems like it's cursed. Step back into the car. It was actually super windy out there, which makes sense because actually when I tried to fly my drone Possum 2 up to the top of Ghost Town, I actually got blown away. So I don't know if it's always just windy right in this spot, or maybe that's part of the curse of Ghost Town in the Sky. But yeah, it's if you've been following this channel for a long time, I've been covering Ghost Town in the Sky, trying to document Ghost Town in the Sky since almost the beginning of this channel. There was a few times where it seemed like it was gonna open back up, and I was really excited. I wanted to film, I wanted to document this. It's kind of a classic theme park. It's a like a cowboy Wild West theme park. It's actually up on top of a mountain. There's a ski lift that gets you to the top. But it closed in 2002. There was the ski lift actually malfunctioned and left people dangling in the rain, and then the park ended up closing down just a few days after that. And it sat empty. I think it opened in 2007, I think, and that's actually when I got a chance to go there. Of course, that was before I was doing videos, so I don't have any videos of Ghost Town in the Sky while it was open, unfortunately. But I did get a chance. I went up there probably about 2 or 3 times. My kids got a chance to see it, and then once 2009 hit, that kind of was the end of any consistent operation for Ghost Town. They did have some reopenings scattered here and there, but they were always just kind of struggling to keep open. There were times where they weren't paying their employees, and it just clearly wasn't what it once was. Now in 2016, I actually documented that they were going to be reopening. They changed their name to Ghost Town Village, and they set an opening day, but then instead of opening, they declared that they were not, I think this was like a day or two before they were set to open, they declared they would not be opening and would be putting the park up for sale. And yeah, so that was a bummer. And then years later, there was all this talk about it reopening. It turned out it was a messy situation. It appeared to be, like, I don't want to defame anyone, but it appeared that someone had come into town and maybe had run a little bit of a scam, got some other people involved. They brought in some former Disney employees to kind of use them as the face of the new company, but it ended up being super shady, and it never opened. That dissolved. That was actually, I went to the town hall meeting, and the Disney lady, or the lady that used to work for Disney, told me I wasn't allowed to film, and then they told the town they weren't allowed to live stream it like they had promised. So yeah, that visit was like a bunch of red flags there. But in the past couple years, there's been something going on here. There legitimately was like work going on. I mean, I saw construction equipment being taken up and down the mountain. So something was going on up there, but it has not yet to manifest. The last that I heard, that everything is kind of embroiled in a lawsuit. The company, there's a company from South Carolina that came up that was going to kind of convert Ghost Town. I think their vision was more of like a shopping area with maybe some aspects of the old Ghost Town on top of the mountain. But there's a bunch of, and I've read the articles, but I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to try to explain something that I don't know 100% understand. But basically, the people are fighting over the ownership of the park, and it's all wrapped up in court right now. And will we ever see Ghost Town again? I don't, not like how it ever was. Like, I would love if they could open something here. I think that'd be really fun. But as far as actually like the amusement park, Ghost Town in the Sky, ever existing again, I think it's gone. From what I understand, the buildings up there have been so damaged from being left abandoned and vandals coming in without anyone keeping an eye on it, that the town is just, it's irreparable, and the rides are long gone. So yeah, it's kind of depressing, but there's the update on Ghost Town in the Sky. But if it ever does open up again, I'll be the first one to ride that sky lift to the top. Now this is interesting, because this looks like a vintage sign here, but this sign is actually pretty new. It's only been here for a couple of years as the Route 19 Inn, a creekside resort. And pretty fun looking hotel. I definitely appreciate the vintage look that they're going for. Yeah, look at this. We got this classic car right here, complete with drive-in movie speakers, a vintage gas pump there, and actually a teepee there in the center as well. Also got some old carousel horses there, just stuck in the ground to use as a chair. Someday I'd like to use carousel horses as chairs. Of course, you can't just travel through the mountains here without stopping and getting some boiled peanuts, preferably from a shack like this. See, it's the Peanut King, the head goober here, and you can smell them in the air, the smoggy, smoky smell of peanuts boiling. So you don't usually want to get them at like a gas station or something where they have them in a crock pot. You want to get them from a place like this where they have a big, smelly cauldron that cooks 24/7. All right, we got our boiled peanuts here. They are very, very hot. This was $3 for a 16-ounce cup of boiled peanuts. If you can see them there, the steam rising of them. Now, I know the world is very divided on boiled peanuts. It seems like everyone you talk to, they either love boiled peanuts or they do not. They dislike them strongly. I love them. I'm definitely on the love side. These are pretty steamy and hot. Now, kind of like to help you envision what a boiled peanut tastes like, I would say it has the consistency of an olive, like kind of that soft, fleshy feeling of an olive. So the peanut becomes soft and mushy like an olive, but you know, retains that peanutty flavor. Oh, let's give this a try. You can suck that salty water out of them. You suck that delicious salt out of there. You crack them open. Now, can you see the two delectable boiled peanuts there? It's known as, what they call it, mountain caviar, or caviar of the South. The boiled peanut. It's that warm, really salty flavor. You gotta like salt. You gotta love the taste of salt, or you will not like boiled peanuts. That is a delectable treat there. Let me look at this one. Ooh, again, they're cooking that big smelly cauldron. They get really hot, so gonna suck the salt water out of that, and let's carefully peel it. And look, we got three peanuts in there. An absolute delicious southern treat, and I would definitely recommend any sort of back road trip through the mountains, going through the small mountain towns, you gotta have some boiled peanuts in the car with you. And here we have the most photographed view in the Smoky Mountains. So the arrow points us right off that way, and it is a pretty view. You can see that mountain there, although the mountain over the years has become dotted with cabins. You can see all the people up there living on the side of the mountain. But yeah, a very popular place to take photos. I'm not sure how they quantified that, how they made sure that this was the most photographed view. Although if you look off to the side of the most photographed view, you can see the roller coaster from Ghost Town in the Sky up top there on the mountain. And here we head underneath the Blue Ridge Parkway. And from there we enter the Cherokee Indian Reservation. And here we have Santa's Land, a theme park from the 60s that's actually still here and still opens every year. It does say on the sign closed for the season, but they'll be back open May 20th, so not too far away from the opening of Santa's Land. You can hear them doing some last minute repairs, refurbishments, and yard work to get the park open on the 20th. Used to be when you rode into Cherokee from this direction, there'd be all these mom and pop hotels with their cool vintage mid-century signs, but now there's just less and less of them. They've been closed down, they've been bulldozed, and in this case they've caught on fire. You can see the horrendous fire damage here at the front desk, and over here this looks like an old snack machine that was burnt up. Still some remaining items in these rooms. You can see a television back there, but pretty destroyed. Yeah, I don't know if this is stuff left over from when the hotel had its fire, or if people have been, you know, living in here in the meantime. Yeah, it looked like there was probably people living here when the fire occurred. Here's one of the remaining old vintage hotel signs, the Cool Waters Motel. I do love this. Love how it looks like an old postcard there with people jumping in the pool. Granny's Restaurant over here also has a really cool mid-century sign. So there's some still, some of the old neon signs still here in Cherokee, North Carolina. This hotel here is the Frontier Motor Lodge, actually named after Frontierland, an amusement park, a Wild West amusement park that used to be across the street here. As you can see, there's now a giant casino over there that took the place of Frontierland. So yeah, there was two Wild West theme parks in this area, Frontierland and Ghost Town in the Sky. Looks like they are both things of the past, although Santa's Land is still here. Now this is the Pink Motel. As you can see, it is painted pink, but this has always had one of my favorite vintage signs here. You can see the Pink Motel sign, where actually have a pixie or fairy there on the sign. Very reminiscent of Tinkerbell from Peter Pan. But yeah, this is an absolute gorgeous sign, and you can see this one actually has a very fresh coat of paint on it. So yeah, we still have the Pink Motel sign, and hopefully it will be here for for many more years to come. We have the Wigwam Motel, which has a very cool sign, but it is not to be confused with the other wigwam motels that actually you can sleep in a wigwam. This one just has a wigwam shaped sign, and then you sleep in a hotel room. It's a lot of school buses. Oh, here comes a few more. Quite a fleet of school buses they have here. There's this new restaurant here, Native Brews Taps and Grill, and I believe this used to be part of a fun park that had go-karts and mini golf. But I just noticed something interesting in the back. Back here by this outside dining area, we have a muffler man, the Native American variety of muffler man there. Now, he used to sit outside of a tattoo shop that was across from the casino. That shop is no longer there, so I guess he was moved over here. I know recently a lot of the Native American muffler men have been considered controversial. Some of them have been removed, but he's been installed over here. And you can actually see some of the fun park left behind, where it used to be, you know, go-karts and mini golf and whatnot. The cave over there. You can see the mini golf track over that way. Well, it looks like we have a giant checkerboard here. So yeah, he's got a fresh coat of paint, and he's presiding here over the restaurant. I don't know if the fun park is completely done for, if that's ever going to be reopened, but it's still sitting there, along with the giant muffler man. Over here is the entrance to the Smoky Mountain National Park. You have the sign there saying goodbye from the reservation, to come back soon. And you can see it's actually written in the Cherokee language, which they do use and teach here. And then I noticed over here next to the sign they have these bears, these fiberglass bears. And I looked at these and I could not figure out what was going on, so I did look it up. And apparently this is the story of how the bear lost its tail. So this is why bears don't have long tails. You can see the bear here, if you look down, actually has a nice long tail. And he's speaking to the fox here, and he noticed the fox has a big pile of fish. The fish are tied to his tail, and the bear asked, well, hey, how'd you get those fish? And the fox said, it's easy. I just would stick my tail in a hole in the ice, and all these fish just bite onto my tail. So the more you leave it in there, the more it hurts, the more fish you will have. The bear's like, that sounds like a great idea. I love eating fish, and I have a long tail. So here we see the bear with his long tail, getting ready to put it in to the ice. He really appreciates his long tail there. And so the bear puts his long tail into the hole in the ice, and the fox here, he thinks this is hilarious because he is a trickster. He is very much a trickster and has fooled this poor bear into sticking his long tail into an icy hole where it would freeze and break off. And here we have a very sad looking bear looking back at the little nub left of his tail. And oh yeah, poor bear, always falling for those dirty fox's tricks. It's one thing I do like to always stop by and say hello to whenever I'm in Cherokee. And that's this inexplicable Triceratops here, sitting next to this grease dumpster in front of the river. And he's been here as long as I've been visiting. He's been here. He's the only dinosaur in this area. He's a very unique style to him. I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he came from a dinosaur park. I don't know if
this building once housed a dinosaur-related attraction, but he sits here, and yeah, he's all the things that that change here in Cherokee, and always come back and find the Triceratops just sitting here, green as always. You know, his horn there's a little damaged, but honestly, I think it's been damaged since I've first been coming over here decades ago. So I don't know if you know where this may have come from. I'll throw that out there. Leave a comment in the comment section. The style of the dinosaur actually reminds me of Bongo Land in Florida, but yeah, not sure who made him, not sure where he came from, but yeah, he's the one constant here in Cherokee. And this is the Warrior Motel. This is a little bit off the main drag, but it probably has the most impressive motel sign of any of the motels in Cherokee. And this has been closed for a very long time. But you can see the sign's got a little bit of rust on it, but it's still beautiful, very undamaged. Has experienced the Smokies. You can see the neon there. Likely he had like a chopping motion to his tomahawk there. Now, like I said, this hotel has been closed. It actually functions as a thrift shop now, so they do have stuff for sale here. But yeah, classic roadside motel here, the Warrior Motel. And over here, you can see at this apple stand, they have a car and a pole, which always makes you ask the question, how'd they get that up there? And speaking of signs, I think this here is a sign that we should stop and get some barbecue. Over here at the barbecue wagon, if you look on the side of the building, you can see the butcher there getting ready to butcher this chicken and this cow. The old Mountain Dew advertisement up there, which its old motto used to be, "It'll tickle your innards." That's way before Mountain Dew became extreme in the 1990s. With the menu up here on the wall, and looks like they have an emergency bottle of RC Cola. There's the bottle opener and 2 straws, I guess, hanging on the wall in case there's a RC emergency. Looking at some of the celebrities that I've eaten here, including the Boogie Woogie Man, handsome Jimmy Valiant. And here is our barbecue plate. Got the chopped pork there. It's diced up nice. Got the barbecue sauce on it. So we got some baked beans and some coleslaw, and it came with some fried hush puppies. All right, let's give some of this barbecue a try there. That is super good. Oh, these hush puppies as well. Oh, it's really hot. So good. Some really good mountain barbecue there. And look at this, they also carry Cheerwine Zero as well. Perfect. It's a perfect complement to a good barbecue meal. It does seem like in North Carolina you often do get the very finely chopped barbecue, where it's almost the consistency of like canned tuna, but still really good and really fresh. All right, so I'm almost a member of the Clean Plate Club today. Decided not to eat all the hush puppies, but everything else was excellent. So good coleslaw. It's rare to find like really good coleslaw. That was some pretty good coleslaw right there, and I of course loved the chopped pork there. So a very delicious meal. I have this antique scale here in the corner. It says down here
says, your doctor says weigh yourself daily. Now my doctor doesn't necessarily say that. And you know, I don't think weighing yourself daily is actually a good idea. You know, you end up driving yourself crazy. Have this abandoned boiled peanut stand here. And this has been abandoned for some time now. I remember back in the day when I used to do a lot of abandoned buildings. I filmed this in the very early days of the channel. And actually, I think if you go to my Patreon page, this is actually the wallpaper of my Patreon page. You can see it's got kudzu growing all over it. You can see the horseshoe above the door, usually a sign of good luck. I guess we can peek inside real quick and, oh, look at that. You can see the kudzu's actually wrapped itself around the door handle, meaning the kudzu was actually attempting to open the door there. And we'll peek in here and see how the abandoned boiled peanut stand is going. It says, enjoy Coca-Cola. There are Coca-Cola, rather. I don't think that's an official logo, but a hand-painted logo nonetheless. You can see actually people would take Coca-Colas from this refrigerated area. They'd pop off the cap right there in the opener, and you can see there's still caps littered on the ground. And I just noticed there's a postcard there from Klingman's Dome. It's this in the national park, place where you can walk up, and a little interesting lookout area there. I think it's the highest place in the Smoky Mountains. Like I mentioned, it's been abandoned for quite some time. I guess this here, you see a little stove there. I guess this is probably where the boiled peanuts would have been boiled, and then the smoke would go out the chimney there. There's a VHS copy of My Dog Skip, and I don't know what this is here. Some sort of mechanical device. Okay, I think this is like a record player or something. It says you plug in the speakers there. And down here by the creek, out here in the back roads of North Carolina, we have a set of Coffendaffer crosses. Of course, the gold cross in the middle, the two blue ones on the outside. These were put up by a Reverend Bernard Coffendaffer as he traveled across the country preaching. He would erect these three crosses at various places, and traveling across the country you can definitely find quite a few of these still standing. These ones here alongside the river next to these bee boxes. I was a little nervous that bees would come and sting me if I came over here, but I don't know, maybe it's not bee season. So yeah, always on the lookout for pairs of Coffendaffer crosses. And fittingly enough, just about 30 minutes down the road, outside of Andrews, North Carolina, we have this. We just witnessed the Coffendaffer crosses, a set of crosses put out by a traveling preacher as he traveled. Here is the other set of crosses put out by a traveling preacher. This is a Harrison Mays cross. Actually, it's not a cross, it's a heart-shaped marker, but he would put out two different types of markers, crosses and hearts. I showed a cross just the other day. I was talking about Harrison Mays and showed a cross that he had put in Fletcher, North Carolina. And here's another one, kind of the back roads outside of Andrews, North Carolina. It says, prepare to meet God. It looks like this has a fresh coat of paint. It actually looks like the letters are purple. Someone had colored them in. And yeah, these are pretty rare. These are probably more rare than the Coffendaffer crosses because they were placed right alongside the old country roads that have like all been expanded now. So most of them have been taken down due to expanding roads, but here's one still standing. It's always really exciting to find one of these in the wild.
So yeah, both sets of crosses, the Coffendaffer crosses and the Harrison Mays crosses, are both. I keep an eye out for both of them on my travels, and yeah, these are rare. These are hard to find. Of course, you want to see more of them or learn more about them. I definitely recommend checking out the Museum of Appalachia, which has a whole exhibit on Harrison Mays. They have the crosses that he left when he died, and he actually left instructions on the crosses where he wanted them to be placed. So he put markers on where he wanted each of them to be placed, and some of them he actually marked that he wanted to be placed on Jupiter, and sadly he never got to plant them on Jupiter, but we still have a few left that he put up alongside the road. And over here in Murphy, North Carolina, they have another Harrison Mays cross there. Like I said, always looking for these when I'm traveling. If any of you know where any of the Harrison Mays crosses our hearts are, or where the Coffendaffer crosses are, leave a comment in the comments section. I'm always looking to see if I can spot some more. And while we're in Murphy, I just wanted to check on one last Harrison Mays cross. This is actually the first one I ever saw. This is the cross that made me aware of the Harrison Mays crosses. As you can see, this one's pretty severely damaged. The bottom half is completely missing, and that's been missing for decades, but it still stands straight up, and still stands here alongside the long, lonesome road. Speaking of wonderful things I like to spot alongside the road, there's one of the very rare remaining Rock City barns. It says "See Beautiful Rock City" atop Lookout Mountain. I think I heard there's less than 50 of the Rock City barns still in existence, so a true treasure to find one alongside the road. So thank you for joining me today as we travel some of the back roads, some of the small towns of North Carolina, and some of those places, as I was traveling through there, they hold a special place in my heart, because when I first moved to the South, I was living in Franklin, North Carolina. So, and you know, I love taking photos. Before I started doing videos, I did photos, and you know, I couldn't afford to travel very far. So that was kind of those places that we went today were kind of the places where, you know, I would travel to take photos. You know, I would just get in the car, drive a few hours, you know, around western North Carolina, look for interesting things, try to hunt down fun things to take pictures of, you know, old houses, just weird stuff, old signs, that sort of thing. And, you know, those times that I was doing that, like, you know, I was so fascinated with the Southern culture and the small town culture, and that's really kind of when the Carpetbagger concept formed, traveling in these back roads and taking photos, and then eventually making videos. Even when I first started making videos, you know, I would go back to those places because, again, I couldn't travel far. I couldn't necessarily get out of town too far. I couldn't afford the gas. I couldn't afford to go pay admission to museums or things like that. So I ended up just, you know, driving around back roads looking for interesting stuff. And yeah, I would revisit that when I started shooting videos. I would go back to some of those things that were in my radius. I was even at that point, like, I wouldn't even really go. I was about 2.5 hours from like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and that was still like, that seemed too far. Like the 2.5 hours drive, that seemed crazy. So, you know, usually it was like an hour or 2 hour drive to try to just look for fun stuff. I would see, you know, with the different crosses, I'd see if I could hunt down other crosses and find them. And so yeah, a lot
a lot of memories today. A lot of memories came back, going through Cherokee, going through Bryson City, going through Murphy. Those were just kind of my go-to areas when it was like for exploring, for getting in the car and going through the backwoods. And I'll tell you what, another thing today, it's just, I'm starting to realize at my age, I'm 42. You really start to notice stuff doesn't last forever. So much that I remember from those trips, from those drives, so much of that is gone, just gone. There was just so much stuff. Like I remember going to Cherokee, and there was so many more attractions. And I don't mean there's less attractions. There's less of that, you know. There was less like roadside-y stuff, less vintage stuff to do. It's just kind of fallen to the wayside, and you know, things that you just saw that you thought were gonna always be there just aren't there anymore. And so, you know, just remember that, like, if something's special, if something's fun, appreciate it while it's here, because there's no guarantee that it's gonna be there tomorrow. And you know, as a matter of fact, there's no guarantee that you're gonna be there tomorrow. And that's always why it's been important to me to just get in the car and go and try to see as much stuff as possible, because I don't know how much longer that stuff's gonna be there. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be here. There's always uncertainty that we're dealing with. So yeah, I had some flashbacks today of kind of just the creation, you know, those back roads that we went on today is kind of where the early stages of the Carpetbagger channel were forged in the you know, in the early 2000s when I first moved to the South and was just fascinated with that stuff, and just fascinated with going and seeing stuff, just driving somewhere I hadn't driven before and seeing all that new stuff was yeah, it was really special to me back then. And yeah, it's really special for me to be able to share that still, what's left of it. So thank you for coming with me. We are in the Chattanooga area. Forget which state I'm in. I did cross a state line or two, but stay tuned. We're doing some fun stuff in the upcoming days, weeks, months, years, and decades. Again, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but we do have the new enamel pins in the Etsy shop. They're 4 monster themed pins. You can buy them individually, or you can buy them together as a set. Of course, we always have the Patreon postcards. If you'd like to receive postcards from me, $3 or more will get you a postcard from me to you once a month. Also doing cameos, personalized messages, personalized greetings, birthdays, anniversaries, or just for fun. All that information is in the description, and all that helps keep this train on the track, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.